Okay. Hey, come through.
Can I ask
Yeah,
a
I
question
definitely
to
agree
Keisha?
too.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. No, go
Yeah, I
ahead.
was
Go
just
ahead.
gonna piggyback after Keyshawn also, because I remember growing up as a little girl, and my other friends that were girls, they would play baby doll and always talk about I can't wait to have babies and stuff. That never once went
Mm-mm.
through my mind that I wanted to birth a baby. Like I never,
Mm-mm.
it never
Mm-mm.
ever.
I agree.
I'm not sure, why or why not, but it just didn't seem like it would that it was just never a desire for me ever, like growing up or anything like that. And then I saw, my sisters and all my friends like talking about, I can't wait to have a baby and all this. You know, I always, I guess, saw myself having a child in my life, but I never.
Mm-hmm.
Even that was kind of like, I mean, honestly, before Dylan, I became his parent when he was 6 months, and and so I think like 2 years before that, it popped in my head like once, like, oh, maybe I'll have a kid in my life, but never, I never thought about going through any procedure, or never tried, thought about ever wanting to get pregnant or anything like that. So I'm just happy it worked out the way it did, but it's just interesting, you know.
And so
So.
I wanted to say something before I ask Keisha, the therapist, a question because it's the question is based off a conversation that we had not too long ago. Well, you wasn't here, but a conversation I had not too long ago. But going back to what you said, Andy, that whole thought, it just wasn't. Some people are just not meant to be there, and we want all our viewers to know, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Everybody is not
Mm,
there. You can love from all kind of different aspects. It doesn't make the love any different. It doesn't change anything, but know your limits, and what you're willing to do in order to bring this situation of motherhood or fatherhood into existence. But so Keisha the therapist. So the one of the conversations we were having today was so a young lady, she's a well, we don't know exactly what she is. I think she decided to be pansexual tonight. So I think we're gonna go with pansexual because that was her final decision. So her mom wants her to have a child. She was like, well, I'm okay with adopting, because we know the love is love. And her mom's like, well, I want it from your eggs. I want this and I want that. So with you in that
Mhm.
position of adopting, does the love feel different? Is there a different type of love that you provide to an adopted child versus a child that you birth? And I mean anybody else can piggyback off that, but I want to ask, Keisha, how is that
Mhm.
love and that experience with an adopted child?
That's a great question.
Okay, so if I hear you, it is. So if I hear you correctly, you're asking me if loving a child when you adopt is it different from giving birth to a child? Is the love
Right.
different? Am I understanding the question correctly?
Correct. Yes.
Okay, all right. So as far as I can speak, obviously towards the adoption piece, right? Because I haven't given birth to a child. I did go through a phase when I started to when I got the proposition from the caseworkers to adopt. I went through that piece of okay, but I've always wanted a child from my loins, my DNA. I wanted a little mini me
Hmm.
walking around, you know. But just like a man, he has the sperm. Obviously, the sperm comes from him, but he's not giving birth to that child, so to speak. But will the love be different for them? So that's just how I had looked at it. So as far as being loving my kids, being an adoptive parent, I think every adoptive parent goes through that transition of still wanting to have their own, right? But then you learn as being a parent, whether you've given birth to that child or it comes from your seed, the love, the character, the principles, the structure, the discipline, the love that you give, it doesn't matter where the child comes from. You're still going to offer those same core values to that child. So I
Hmm.
think it's a transitional period as far as still loving a child that you're adopted. Because if you ask me, I mean, people always think I think your matter of fact, your wife just told, Ren a couple of weeks ago, she totally forgot that I was an adoptive parent. I mean, people
Because
forget
they're
that
like
my kids
you.
are adopted because I've poured into
Yeah,
them so much. Correct.
yeah.
Correct. So I really don't, at this point now, as far as me being a parent, I don't think it's any different.
Mhm.
But 8 years ago, it definitely was a difference. Right. So that I think it just comes with maturity, it comes with growth, and it comes with experience.
So we can honestly say from your experiences, specifically, that nature and nurture still had the same love value.
Yes, I would agree with that. Yes.
Okay, I can understand that. Anybody else wanted to like present it from a different perspective?